As part of Mobility Outlook's Women in Mobility initiative, our guest today is Ms. Suman Mishra, CEO, Mahindra Electric Mobility Limited. Suman Mishra is an MBA from University of Michigan, Ross School of Business, where she graduated with high distinction. She is a computer engineer from NTU Singapore, where she graduated with first class honors. Suman is currently the chief executive and a whole time director of Mahindra Electric Mobility Limited, responsible for charting the future of electric last mile mobility for the Mahindra Group. She is the chief executive designate for the last mile mobility business. Prior to this role, she has worked extensively in developing and implementing strategic initiatives across several sectors and functions in the Mahindra and McKinsey and launching products globally in Cipla. Welcome to Mobility Outlook, Suman. It's a pleasure to have you on our program today.
It's a great pleasure to be here as well.
So, Suman, let's start off with the first very basic question. What's your sort of current views on the current mobility ecosystem?
Isn't it fantastic to be in a world of continuous change? There are numerous changes, and I believe for the better, happening in the mobility ecosystem. First, of course, is the electrification of mobility, particularly starting with the last mile, first mile, and moving on to the passenger segments as well. So this is like a huge value addition for the world in general because of its impact on sustainability as well. So that's great. Supported by this, there are a large number of, let's say, players, startups that have come into the market, which is again a wonderful thing because it, always fosters innovation and agility when lots of startups come into the fold. And finally, of course, on the negative side, there are tremendous challenges in the global supply chains of the world, which all of us are facing in the post-COVID world. And let's hope that this calms down soon.
Sure. So, speaking specifically of women in this ecosystem, Suman, what are the kind of opportunities you see for them in the future?
I am a believer that women should do whatever they feel like doing and that all opportunities are available and open to them. Um, but on a more, maybe if I engage on this topic a bit more, you can say that yes, there have been largely males in this space, in the automotive space in particular, but it is fast changing in the world of electric automobiles. For example, our battery line is entirely operated by women. We have a large number of women in our embedded systems and all the software coding. So it's sort of, we always used to say the IT industry has large number of women, and now with the confluence of the E&E electrical and electronics part, that has become a welcome change into the world of automotive as well. So with that, I feel like, right now, I think the sky is the limit. All opportunities are open. And we are seeing great strides in this space.
Sure, sure. So for you, particularly Suman, from technology consulting to pharmaceuticals to automotive, talk to us about this transition.
Yeah, it's been quite an interesting journey, if I may say so myself. So, in my professional journey, I have been very fortunate to work across many industries and many functions. When I started, of course, I was with Accenture, I did computer engineering, but post that, I have worked with a proclivity towards manufacturing. So I did my specialization in Tauber Institute of Manufacturing, which was then called, so now it's called Tauber Institute of Global Operations in the University of Michigan. And, from that point forward, I have largely been doing various number of transformation work, if you may say so, across functions, so sales, finance, pricing, procurement, org, and across industries, retail, financial services, automotive, chemical, tech. So, if you think about my professional journey, I love to say that, the journey has allowed me to experience large number of industries and functions, so I can really start to see what's common, what's unique, what are the same problems no matter where you go, and what are the various approaches to solving them. Also, I have a large group of colleagues and friends from all these different journeys, right? I worked in Singapore, I worked in India, I worked in US for considerable periods of time. I did stints in Africa. So I have a network of, I would like to call them sounding boards.
Uh-huh.
Um, for instance, a problem that is an immediate problem here may have been a problem of the past somewhere else or in some other industry. And it's always great to have that kind of network to support us in, moving forward in our professional careers.
Right. Now, with this kind of varied, diverse sort of experience that you've had across geographies, Suman, what's the kind of approach that you've taken to leadership?
Obviously, this has evolved, right? As I have grown in my professional career, I've evolved my leadership approaches. But something that has always stayed with me is for a leader, you have to stay grounded to your purpose. You must
Mm.
know why is it that you're doing what you're doing, and that sort of helps you clear out the clutter and
Right.
eases out decision making. There are so many conflicts and prioritization and decision making that we do on a day-to-day basis. What guides the decision making is sort of our purpose, and also we have to be grounded because we have to know that we don't know everything, and this allows us to be extremely curious and learn more, because in today's world, while information may be available, knowledge is a little of a scarcity. So
Mm.
you may want to actually learn about whatever new topic, new area, new leadership style, whatever it is that you wish to do.
Sure.
The only other thing I would add is sort of having that empathetic approach towards a team, right? How do you build a team that
Mm.
thinks about the company and the purpose instead of thinking about their siloed roles? That's
Sure.
the other thing that has evolved in all my experiences so far is it's all about the team and it's all about the people, at the end of the day. So how does the team come together to work for the purpose of the business instead of working for individuals? So I think in my mind, these are the three things that a leader can do, and these are just my thoughts. So I'm sure everybody has their stratagem and approach to this.
For sure, Suman, for sure. But when you think of leadership, do you think it's some sort of a trait that one has, or it's a skill that one needs to sort of work on?
I honestly do not know. It's a very difficult question to answer. I mean, I'm sure there are some traits that
Okay.
allow certain people to be more comfortable in the role of a leader, and certain traits that allow people to be more comfortable in the role of a team player. I don't think there is one better than the other, right? You can be
Right.
a deep, deep, deep specialist and be the most valued person in the world, because of what you know. It's a knowledge role. You don't necessarily have to lead thousands of people, or
Right.
you could be a leader. So these are all individual roles, and as you mature in the style of in your professional journeys, I think you gravitate to one or the other.
Mm. Mm.
So for me, I think there's no better or worse, but it's probably a mix of both, right? It's a mix of what makes you comfortable and what makes you fulfilled in
Right.
your journey. Many people may not be fulfilled with having no sort of, you have the authority and the control, but if you're not doing something artistically, creating something artistically, you may not be fulfilled. And for them, there is a different path. So I think there's paths for everybody. There is no comparison here. And
Sure.
your a mix of your traits and your preferences, what satisfies you, those lead you to your whatever your goalpost might be.
Interesting. So what do you think are the areas that leaders need to focus on considering the transformation that we see in the mobility sector today?
Yeah, I mean, right now I think because there is constant change and constant turmoil, you really need to know where you want to focus your team and your energies on, right? It's
Mm.
easy right now in this state to worry about everything in continuousness, but you have to be the balanced sounding board for the rest of your team and really be clear about priorities. So there are two things that I think in this COVID world, with supply chain challenges, with mobility changing the shape of itself, you, a leader must be both the anchor, I feel, for the company, but also be able to dig down deep into the organization and inspire the teams. Because a lot of people may be feeling the same, the same brunt of this work from home, COVID, family issues, and so on and so forth. So the leader has to dig down deep into the organization and inspire the people, but at the same time be able to manage sort of calmness and set a clear path. The easiest thing to do is to go in multiple directions given the changes that are happening in the market, but then it's become more imperative on the leader to have a decisive approach, at least along with your team. Of course, you build that approach, but where are we going and why are we going? Those become very, very important right now, especially in period of turmoil. I feel the role of a leader or the CEO sort of becomes more important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Suman, how can you bring more women into the workforce today, considering this is one of the sectors where women are less represented?
Yeah, I mean, I think the answers are always similar, right? I have done a lot of work in terms of diversity and increasing diversity across my various roles in various companies all over the world. The answer is always similar, On the one side, do you have an environment that fosters and supports women, right? So that they don't attract. This is one of the biggest problem. You may get it in the funnel in the beginning, but there is a lot of mid-management attrition. How do you stop that? How do you give supportive policies, but also a supportive environment? So people want to, work in the company or in your company. The other thing is, after COVID, because of the dual, triple burden that fell on a lot of women, many people have chosen to take a step back. You're managing the work, you're managing your home, and then you're managing the child schooling, all of which were supposed to be done by two different sets of people. So that has pushed a lot of women to take a step back. I just really hope that they step out and come back into the workforce. And particular to automotive, I think uh, I think first is the mindset, right? That it's all right. I think all women can do all jobs. Obviously, I believe that. But the second thing is, can we really look into our culture, practices, and policies to make it a supportive environment?
Sure. One final question, Suman. What would be your message to young women looking to make a career in this mobility space?
I think just go for it. Do not fear. Just go for it. Do not self-select yourself out, right? Do not self-select. Before you go and try something, don't say, oh, it has too many men, I can't make it work, Don't self-select out, just go for it. And I'm sure, just think about the leaders today. The many companies globally are being led by women, right? So let's not just hold ourselves back. We have to go out there and get things done. And I think women today, especially the millennials, have a do not fear attitude, which I absolutely embrace. They should really go out there and achieve their dreams and whatever their dreams might be. So I really do feel that this upcoming generation has this go-getter, do not care, no holds barred attitude, and that is definitely going to see many, many more women in many top positions around the world.
Absolutely, Suman. And a very strong message to young women looking at making a career in this sector. Do not self-select out, right? Thank you so much, Suman, for speaking to Mobility Outlook today. It's indeed a pleasure having you on our show. Thank you.
Thank you. Great to be here.